So it's been a week since I returned from Galaxy Unpacked, and I've been using the S26 Ultra since I returned every day. At launch, we were obviously acknowledging, the specs, the newest Snapdragon chip, fast charging, and the AI tricks, etc. But what is it like when you actually take it out into the world, put it in your pocket and use it every day?
A lot of tech channels have already read you the spec sheet. Today, we're going to talk about the battery reality, the controversy around the display, and why Rohan's Oppo is making this $1,300 Samsung look a little bit lazy. Much like me, because Rohan's doing this video on his own. I'm on vacation. Sayonara.
As promised, guys, we're staying practical. After 1 week of using this, the one thing that really annoys me and probably not many channels are talking about is the wobble on the table. Because the camera module sticks out a bit more from the S25 Ultra and the phone is slightly thinner, the wobble is really accentuated and, to be honest, quite annoying on a table. When I lay it flat on a table, it makes this awful noise and these movements which are not pleasant. The second annoying thing is actually the S Pen, the asymmetrical S Pen, because now the S Pen is placed exactly at the corner, which means that it's rounded in a certain direction that is not symmetrical. So you can replace the S Pen anyway. So that's a good thing. You can either put it the normal way or, just put it in and shut it, which is fine. But there is an asymmetrical way in which it sticks out now a little bit. So that curved edge, you have the S Pen sticking out, which I think is which annoys me in daily use. It's not the end of the world, but it's just one of those things I'm questioning why Samsung is doing this. Let's talk about the headlining feature of this phone, the privacy screen. So how I'm using it is only for password entry and notifications. And I think that is a great combination. It works well. I also used it once when I was in a train and a couple of times while I was at work. It really depends on a situation where you want to use it, but I would not apply it uniformly for the whole screen because the screen does become dimmer and you're getting slightly lower resolution, which we noted in our initial impressions video. But what a lot of people have also noticed is that even when you turn off privacy display, those viewing angles are slightly worse than the S25 Ultra. And I'll be honest, I saw that as well, but it's not really a big deal. You can pretty much see it from all angles. Yes, if you're nitpicking, if you're, going into display specs and being a nerd about it, you will not like it. But for practical daily use, this was fine. So there was some internet drama as well this week about Samsung using an 8-bit screen instead of a true 10-bit. So a bunch of publications actually wrote to Samsung and asked them, hey, is this really a true 10-bit screen? It turns out that it's not. So that's cleared up, but I'm just watching YouTube and Netflix on this. Who cares? Now we are an audio focus channel, so the audio and calls, guys, I've really been trying to, record samples of the two speakers, etc. Did a few mic samples as well, but I'll just be honest, the speakers are just a tiny bit louder. That's the only difference I can see. So that's not a reason to upgrade from the S25 Ultra either. Also, there are no Snapdragon Suite codecs. You're only getting AAC, SSC, LDAC, aptX, and SBC for Bluetooth audio codecs. If those letters don't mean anything to you, and that's perfectly fine as well. That's about the quality of the Bluetooth earbuds you're going to use. Let's talk about the battery life. And, the good thing here is Samsung has finally bumped up the charging speed to 60 watts. It charges fast enough. I can get a pretty decent top up if I charge it while I go to the shower and I'm back. Of course, the big frustration here is that they stuck with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Now, and how much of a frustration is that is the real question, because for most people, this can easily last a day or more. But again, this is the Oppo Find X9 reality check for Samsung. This has a 7,500 milliamp hour battery. It lasts 2 days easily. And if you're using it lightly, 3 days even. Well, Samsung is obviously worried about safety here. And I think if I were Samsung, I'd probably make the same choice because after the Note 7 fiasco, they don't want anybody saying that their phones are getting too warm or, blowing up. So it's clear why Samsung is doing this. Maybe after silicon carbon is tested and proven in the market for longer periods of time, or if another fruit company adopts it, Samsung will also adopt it. Let's talk about the cameras, point and shoot, and the 3x problem. Now look, for everyday snaps, the camera is fine, it does well, it's reliable. Shutter is fast. You can switch it to 24 megapixels from 12 if you want to get more detail. And the AI features are fun for quickly editing photos. I like the new aperture increases, and the night mode is also noticeably better, especially for neon lights compared to the S25 Ultra. However, there's an AI feature that you have now, Photo Assist, which you can actually take a picture and change people's clothes or add people or animals into settings that they weren't there before. I mean, the word deepfake sounds scary for a reason, and calling it photo assist instead of deepfake, I don't know how much of a good idea that is. What I did notice is that there are certain guardrails when you edit photos. So it wouldn't let me change details about faces, for example. But you know how AI is. You just need the right prompts to get around guardrails. So to democratize photo manipulation in such a big way, to me personally, it's worrying. And it's more worrying for people who are, weaker or disadvantaged rather than, people who may have access to all the tech in the world and are fine with it. So let's see how that pans out and if that becomes a bigger issue than it is right now. Now, for creators, if you shoot a lot of video, the horizon lock is basically magic now. It's like something straight out of an action camera. And yes, we know Vivo did it first, but they've done it and it works really, really well, like we showed on this short. And they've also added pro level log and LUT tools that video nerds will love. It's a pretty decent B cam now if you are a creator. So that's great. Then you have the zoom problem on the cameras. The auto mode test. Most people just open the camera and zoom in on their kids, pets, or a concert, in everyday life, and that's fine. But if you see these 3x shots, taken indoors, compare it to the Oppo shot here, also taken indoors. Simply put, Samsung is just using an old 10 megapixel lens for its 3x zoom and relying on AI to guess the details, making it, a bit hit or miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it looks muddy. The Oppo uses a massive 200 megapixel lens, so it actually captures the real detail. So it doesn't have to rely on AI trickery to improve that picture. And another final disappointment for me on the Samsung is that there are no magnets built in. Samsung is saying 80 or 90% of people put a case on, so they're going to have magnets in the case. I don't really buy that argument. I think the next iteration of the Ultra will have magnets in it. But other than that, Samsung phones are a known commodity. And of course, something they marketed last year, which is still there on this year, is that anti-reflective screen, guys. That something almost no other phone has, and they should have probably marketed it again because it's still quite unique. And of course, all the other Samsung features, including niche features like dual messenger that most people don't even talk about. 7 years of software and security updates, fantastic. Still some of the best on the market. And if you're deep in the Samsung ecosystem like the Galaxy Buds Pro, which we also reviewed, or the AI, the new lighter build, these are all great quality of life updates. In terms of disclosures, guys, Samsung did fly me out to San Francisco for the Galaxy Unpacked event and loaned us this review device. But we're going to say it like we see it. And here it comes. There's an accusation that at $1,300, Samsung is coasting. They're relying on software tricks to make up for older camera hardware and standard batteries. And I guess you could say that is true to an extent. But I can see the other side of the argument too, that privacy display, it's genuine innovation. It's hardware-based innovation, a feature no one else has even thought of. And this phone is an accumulation of all the little things that we mentioned so far, and that makes it a really compelling device. Am I switching from the Oppo Find X9 Pro? No. Thanks to our tested tier members and our Fakmans, Paula, Rachel, Croxlin, Rads Panda, and Brian. And a question for you guys, does a built-in privacy screen and great software make up for that battery that's starting to fall behind and the 10 megapixel camera? Let me know in the comments down below what it is that you really value. Doi.